relief effort. After the devastation in Japan, a poll revealed that Japan is not receiving nearly the amount of funds that were given to Haiti and other disaster areas. Why do you guys think this is?
You know, I just think that everybody just needs to do their part and just help out their fellow neighbor.
I totally agree. I was one of the first 500 people to join the Facebook group. I already texted the Red Cross donating, and my friend, she did this thing. She took all these pictures of people getting stuff dumped on them, and she's selling them for $25 online, and all the money goes to the Japan relief effort. I got this one with this dude getting SpaghettiOs dumped all over his
I was
body.
thinking more like, you know, joining the Peace Corps or Greenpeace.
You could do that too, sure.
I did.
What about the nuclear reactors in Fukushima? What does anybody think of that?
Well, what's happening is you have these nuclear reactors, and what they're doing in those reactors is it's nuclear fission, so it's breaking apart, and it's breaking apart uranium to yield energy, and that is a very exothermic reaction, so it is creating a lot of energy, so it is, you know, giving out that energy to power Japan. But what is happening is the coolants that would cool down those things so pressure doesn't build up broke after those earthquakes and the tsunami. So now these reactors are just building up in pressure and heat, and there's no way of stopping it. And like they've proposed like several ways. They've been like dumping water on it and such, but like the only actual way for them to to cool those reactors is to drop liquid helium on those reactors, because liquid helium can actually phase through certain parts and certain materials and actually get in those reactors, because you can't actually open up those reactors or else nuclear you'll just die.
Nuclear stuff is scary, man. I mean, it's causing mutations and species all over the planet. People should take my advice and they shouldn't drink milk because it is highly susceptible to nuclear activity.
Oh no, no milk. I already eat my Panda Puffs with soy milk anyway, so I'm safe.
So to me, the real issue seems like until we figure out how to harness these, whether it's Tokyo Power Company in Japan and it's Exxon Mobil in America, until we harvest and address the real system of for-profit energy, whether it's dirty or clean, we're still going to be faced in this cycle of the working class of the world is going to be exploited and suffered to the dramatic effects of nuclear, fossil fuels, or even the sun, God forbid, if the industry got a hold of that.
If you took E equals mc squared and multiplied it by the factor of 5, you could hypothetically get an energy fast enough to phase through the helium molecule that could probably bring the temperature down to nearly 3 Kelvin, which is so close to absolute zero, but yes, that would in fact...
All this science doesn't have any social struggle involved. See, we're getting too distracted here and putting the blame on the little guys on the boat when these bougie motherfuckers are riding on the luxury liner.
Charlie Sheen. Television's bad boy's been all over the tabloids recently. Last month, he toured the country selling out venues only to talk about Charlie Sheen, I guess. What do you guys think about that?
Honestly, who the fuck cares? The tragedy to me is, as America laughs at Charlie Sheen doing cocaine and hookers, they miss the real tragedy of the fact that U.S. has supported over a $40 billion a year global war on drugs. That's really been a war on the poor people and working class people of Latin and South America and our poor drug users at home.
I think that, along with the fact that we're using Charlie Sheen as kind of like a sacrifice, like back in the ancient times with your Aborigines, they
with the
would
Aztecs,
pick one
the
person
Incas, and the
they would
Mayans.
treat them with
They would
royalty
always
and
choose
stuff.
one
And then when
person
they were old enough
to
sacrifice
treat
them to the gods.
And I feel like that's what like our societies have
Which
done.
means
Societies
things
have
like
moved
in
towards
fact,
the
picking
Aborigines,
one person,
like
whether
the
they
Aztecs,
say like
the
Charlie
Mayans,
Sheen or somebody else, and
Incas,
just like
have like always
treating them with
picked
royalty
one
and then
person or a couple
looking at them and
as
sacrificing
like a
them
celebrity,
and
someone that they cherish and treat royally.
Like, that's what I feel like.
All Charlie Sheen is he's now come of age as a sacrifice.
Illegal drugs also really harm the environment because everybody who tries to grow them tries to hide them, and they hide them in the middle of all our national forests, and then in order to get there, they're treading on all our native species.
Alright, guys, did you know that supposedly after being fired from 2.5 Men, Ashton Kutcher is going to take his place on the show? What do you guys think about that?
Honestly, nobody cares.
In a humanitarian conquest, Obama has chosen to support a democratic uprising against Muammar Gaddafi. Yeah.
Well, the whole basis of a humanitarian intervention is completely false. I mean, while we support these dictators with military and armed support that later turns into the military-industrial complex, feeding the fat cat profits for the war profiteers of this globalized, militarized, capitalistic society, I mean, it's really truly inspirational seeing the oppressed people stand up and take to the streets against their leaders, but when we start giving the arms and just another way for the arms industry to profit is just tragic.
Oh, I hate war. Hate it.
I should have worn my Darfur shirt. Why didn't I do that?
That would have been a good idea. Like, for some reason, they were just called the Janjaweed, which I guess that is an actual like plant that came from about the northeastern coast of Africa that actually was it was actually a fast-growing weed that was consuming livestock and consuming all the other vegetation. So what happened was that I guess the guys just took that name and took that term because it because they were fast growing and fast just increasing at such an exponential rate, I guess.
Well, the whole thing that you're missing out is the neglect to mention countries or Darfur having natural resources in the south, and why are we in Libya and different Iraq because of oil for the corporate interests of America, and we're turning a blind eye to tragedies in Congo, Bahrain.
Not to mention we're outsourcing all of our deforestation into these countries with less stringent environmental regulations than in America. And they're being just deforested at a faster rate over there. It's a tragedy.
You know what would be good for America is we have been starting, there have been German studies where they've taken atmospheric ozone and infused it with water. And what would happen is that water would then, you would drink it, obviously, and then it would stimulate the red and white blood cells that would actually start counteracting and attacking viruses and sicknesses and diseases that could eventually, heal you, and you could, and be a healthier human being.
Can you say that again in English, please?
Well, English is actually a funny language. It actually seems like there's multiple dialects, and honestly, I've always thought of this. It was kind of funny. If you can speak 3 languages, you're trilingual. If you speak 2 languages, that makes you bilingual, and so.
And if you can only speak 1, you're an American.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for this week, folks. Tune in next week when we'll interview patriotic Pete, who still wants to see Obama's birth certificate.